Bubba Jim's Guns for Beginners, Episode 1, Know Your Weapon. Howdy y'all, this is Bubba Jim of SurvivorSKSBoards.com. I keep running into people who's new to guns, so by popular demand, I'm going to show you what guns is for and how to identify the important parts of a gun. So, let's start off here with my favorite beginner's gun, which is, let me get my cheaper than dirt bags out of the way. By the way, cheaper than dirt. All your gun needs. Good stuff. Just got back from there. Now let's start off with my favorite beginner's gun, the Smith & Wesson 6.69 357 Magnum. It's a J-frame revolver. Now this is a particularly great gun for beginners. Why? Because it fires two kinds of bullets. That's why. 38 and 357 Magnum. Now your 38 Special is a good gun for home defense. It'll drop a bad guy if they bust in your front door. At the same time, the 357 is good for hunting deer and bears. Now people ask me what the difference is between 38 and 357. Well, they can't seem to do math, because, I mean, it's obvious. The difference is about 329. Anyway, see, the 357 bullet is slightly narrower than the 38, so you can always tell if you got 357 in the gun, because it'll rattle like this. You hear that? Yeah, that's because the 357 is narrower and 38 bullets in that gun don't rattle like that. Let's get started with proper revolver vernacular. Okay? Now, you're going to notice I got a knife here. It's a good old buck knife, you know. Good old American-made buck knife. Always buy American, folks. Alright, the parts you need to remember are as follows. Now this is the trigger, but that's just what they say in movies. Only amateurs use that word. In gun parlance, this here is known as the hook. The hook. Remember that. That's the real word for it. Now this part up here, the part moves back and goes bang when it drops down. Well, you can call it the hammer if you don't know nothing about guns, but pros call it the dropper. That's the dropper. If you call it the hammer, well, you don't know nothing about guns, and we gun experts will make fun of you. Anyway, here's the tube. That's the tube. A lot of people in the movies call it a barrel. Does that look like a barrel to you? No, that don't look like no barrel. Here, let's look at that. That's a tube. A tube. Yeah. And what else we got? Oh yeah, this is for revolvers only. Now, see this spinny part here? It turns around, holds the bullets, kind of cylindrical looking. That's the spinner. The spinner. You want to remember that. If you know your terms correct, like, you can talk guns with the best of us. Alright, now let's look at the important part here. Right there. Alright, I'm going to pull one of them out. Alright, see that? That right there. Trying to get in focus. Now this here is called a lot of things. You can call it a bullet, round, cartridge, etc. Now the pro term is that this is a load. A load. Now keep in mind, only revolvers use loads. If it's in a rifle, it's a shot. And if it's in a shotgun, it's a fire. I know that's kind of confusing, but you can memorize it. Pistols shoot loads, rifles shoot shots, and shotguns shoot fires. Alright, speaking of, let's move on to rifles. I don't know. This is my gun cleaning stuff. I was going to clean all my guns today. Now remember, you only got to clean your guns maybe once or twice a year. It's not like, they're not like dishes or clothing. You don't got to wash them all the time. You clean them whenever you feel like it, you know. You can go out shooting it a couple times, just put it away. It don't matter none. And this is all the things you're going to use to clean a weapon properly. You got your hops, and you got your brushes, and you got your solvents, and you got your fume-free Easy Off, and your toilet bowl cleaner. I know it don't make a lot of sense, but I'll show you later. All right, kiddos, always get that out of here, out of my way. All right, so we're going to now talk about the rifle. Now, as you know from SKSSurvivorBoards.com, we're real big fans of this here butte right here. I'll just lay her on top of the revolver there like that. This right here is the SKS. The SKS. Oh, it is, goddamn, I get a little wood every time I look at it. You get it? Because it's got a little wood. Right. Alright, this here gun, some of you might be thinking, Bubba Jim, that kind of looks like an AK-47. Well, although this is an assault rifle, it's not an AK. See, this replaced the AK-47 back in World War II. See, the Russians had the AK-47, which is really just a horrible, horrible weapon. Always jamming, you got to clean it all the time. So they replaced it with this here. This here's the SKS. Now, it's got a few upgrades from the AK-47. For one thing, it's got a longer smoke tube up here, so you get a little less recoil, and it fires a slightly heavier bullet than the AK-47. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about this one all over the place. But right now I just want to show you where the corresponding parts is on a rifle that you just done learned. Now you might recognize this right here. There's your tube. Now don't confuse that none with the smoke tube. The smoke tube up here, that don't fire nothing out. This here is the tube. That's where the bullet comes out. Now that little shiny thing down there, that's a bayonet. Yeah, that don't shoot nothing either, but you know, it's pretty. Anyway, now you might notice there's no spinner, because that's a rifle. This is what's known as an automatic weapon. It is an automatic SKS. So it uses automatic fire, because it's an assault weapon. Anyway, now you might notice this little thing down here. Yeah, thing I'm whacking with the blade. Alright, that there, I hear a lot of debate about what people want to call this. I'm going to make this simple. This is the clip. The clip. Remember that. Only a complete commie pinko faggot would call that the magazine. It ain't no magazine. That don't look like nothing like a book. You ain't gonna read nothing out of that. That is the clip. Now, because of the vernacular that it is, this is how you load an SKS. Like I said, you can see these bullets are a little bigger than the ones that are fired by the AK-47, so they're more powerful. Now, this is a magazine. A magazine. You got to remember that. I mean, it is the easiest new goddamn thing you can say. Is you're looking at a gun and you're like, ooh, lad, why don't you hand me the magazine? No, tell them hand me a clip. That's all you got to say. We'll get more into that. I'm sorry, I get a little emotional over all that. But moving on, we got right here you got your hook. And over here we got your sling. Yep. Mighty fine weapon. Now, the main thing you got to remember about rifles is, well, they're pretty accurate, but not as accurate as a shotgun. Let's move on to shotguns real quick. Alright, moving on to get out of here, you stupid crap. Alright, moving on to shotguns. This is my favorite. That's my Winchester. Winchester 12 gauge. This is real good for shooting ducks and brown people. Now, there's a couple other parts on this. Where did I put my damn knife? There it is. Alright, there's a couple parts that you might see are once again all the same. Now over here you got your hook. And down here you got your tube. Now over here you have your clip. And this right here, that's your pumper. Remember that, that's called a pumper. Now the fun thing about shotguns is they shoot a great big cloud of bullets all at once. It's really good. Here, let me show you one of these here. See that? There's a 12 gauge triple-aught buckshot. Now this shoots approximately 1945 caliber pellets out at a velocity of 4,600 feet per second. Basically, it's like getting shot by a whole bunch of machine gunners all at once. Now, why do I say it's more accurate than a rifle? Because you will hit your target at 200 yards with a shotgun when you would normally miss with a rifle. Now remember, it's a shotgun because it shoots fires. Fires, remember that. Shotgun shoots fires, and a rifle shoots shots. A revolver shoots loads. Loads, shots, and fires. Now if you can remember all that, you're going to be starting to talk like a real gun pro in no time. Alright, so now we got all our cleaning supplies, we got all our guns. I'm going to do another one in a little bit showing you proper firearms handling and safety, including such things as the myth of keeping your finger off the trigger. Anyway, you'll find out what that all means in the next recording, brought to you by Cheaper Than Dirt. And if you want, go ahead down to the SKSSurvivorboards.com, sign you up and get you a account going. I don't know all these techie things. My wife's going to put this video